Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. A fatal auto accident claims the life of an Oxford man. And are increased water bills in the future of Oxford Township residents?
All this and more. The Oxford News begins right now. A multi-car accident on M24 resulted in the death of a 69-year-old Oxford resident, Theodore Turson. Turson was fatally injured after a 75-year-old woman driving a Lincoln reportedly passed out and swerved into the oncoming traffic. Slamming head-on into the Jaguar Turson was driving. A 17-year-old Oxford girl was also injured when her van hit the Jaguar from behind. All persons involved in the accident were taken to the hospital, and Turson, he was pronounced dead at the scene. The accident is still under investigation.
Effective January 1st, 2016, Oxford Township water customers will see a 17% increase in their quarterly water bills. With a vote of 5-2, Township trustees approved the increase to cover a projected $1.5 million shortfall in a debt payoff due to be paid in full by the year 2030. The debt is for bonds taken out with Oakland County in 2005 for improvements and construction of a 1 million gallon water tank and 2 treatment plants designed to remove arsenic and iron from groundwater. The 2 trustees voting against the proposal were Township Treasurer Joe Ferrari and Trustee Sue Belaires. Both were in favor of all township residents paying their hike rather than just water consumers.
The Oxford Township Board also approved by a vote 5-2 to allow Stony Lake Park to remain open all year round. Effective December 31st, both residents and non-residents will be allowed non-restricted access. The change will bring the park into conformity with the way all other Oxford parks are accessed. The 13-acre park contains a beach, 3 picnic pavilions, a gazebo, playground, boat launch, bathrooms, and public areas with tables. Because the Parks and Recreation Department will no longer have to pay staff to check identification at the entrance, it's estimated the change will result in a savings to taxpayers of over $7,000 annually.
In honor of Veterans Day, a special recognition was given to the local veterans by the Oxford Free Methodist Church. The event featured a free homemade dinner and musical entertainment. Oxford Vietnam War veteran Gerald Lawson, who served in the Army's 173rd Airborne Brigade, said he appreciates people are finally realizing jumping into the jungle wasn't a good idea.
Last week, we told you about developer Christian Mills requesting a tax abatement for the Legacy Center. Mills explains why.
I'm asking for the abatement. It's pretty clear. You know, starting from the fact that when we purchased this building, you know, I think the building was appraised from a tax assessment about 1.5. Within 1 year, the taxes doubled. So we've paid almost twice the amount of taxes for 2015 and probably 2016. Had we not purchased the building, your taxes probably would have been cut by 75% because the property's $500,000 and the building was appraised at about $1 million too. I'm not really looking for a free ride. So to be clear, you know, there's a misperception about tax abatements that they're unfair, that entrepreneurs or people are being opportunistic to take away tax dollars from the community. And this really couldn't be farther from my objective.
Village Council member and Township resident Brian Cloutier scolded the Township Board for not making Mills' request known to the public.
We have a piece of legislation that you have an open window to understand that it's been brought up, to understand, you know, whether or not this process at the state level is going to be extended. You're circumventing that right now in many ways by trying to railroad this through. Now, quite honestly, if I hadn't been approached by the editor of the local newspaper, I would have had no idea that this was even being discussed tonight. And I think that a tax abatement that's going to forego the potential of significant revenue for this community deserves a little more attention than that. So quite honestly, there's no way in
God's Green Acres?
yeah, that I would support something like this, because I feel like it's being circumvented, the whole system, and everybody who is a government unit here would have had no clue if the local paper hadn't told us. So,
Us included.
really, folks? Really? And
Us included,
half of you don't even have all the information.
We don't have any.
So why would you even, in good conscience, make a decision without going through due process and going through that time period that is necessary for something that's as significant as this, that's going to have a huge impact on this community?
Supervisor Dunn motioned to postpone further discussion until Mills can present paperwork from the county.
Okay, we're gonna get close to voting here. I'm gonna vote to delay it, to give the Park and Rec, these other elected boards, a chance to at least comment on it.
And see some numbers.
And, we could even try it next month. I mean, it could be as soon as that. But to ask us to vote on something this important with dollars we don't even know what we're dealing with it's gonna be unfair, and that's why I'm gonna vote no.
Okay.
Roll call.
Supervisor Dunn.
No.
Clerk Wright, no. Treasurer Ferrari.
No.
Trustee Dar.
No.
Trustee Curtis.
Yes.
Trustee Kreiderman.
Yes.
And Trustee Bellairs.
No.
The Oxford Township Parks and Recs held its annual turkey trot with more than 50 runners participating in the 5K race. An additional 2 persons participated in the 2K walk. First place winners in each group received a frozen turkey sponsored by the Oxford Myers store. Of special note, one of the runners was our Oxford Township Clerk Curtis Wright, who ran the 5K in less than 25 minutes. The winner of the 5K, which is Peggy McQueen, finished in 22 minutes and 16 seconds. Congratulations to all who participated.
Local resident Jim Hubbard, who heads up the North Oakland PFW Post 334, was recently named Michigan's Veteran of the Year for 2015. He was also appointed National Deputy Chief of Staff for the state. Hubbard, a highly decorated Vietnam veteran and respected resident, was appointed the honorary position for his efforts in the sale of poppies and his continued work as chairman for the National Home for Children. Known as by many as the real thing, a hero in every sense of the word, Oxford is grateful to call Hubbard our neighbor.
The Michigan Department of Transportation has major plans for South M24 that will affect traffic through Lake Orion and ultimately way up to Oxford. According to MDOT, the nearly $30 million project will eliminate all direct left-hand turns onto and off of M24 in Orion Township. Project construction is expected to start early spring 2016, and drivers can expect to be in the cones until November. So what does that mean for Oxford? During peak morning and evening hours, 2 lanes, both directions, will be open. On weekends only, there will be only 1 lane open in each direction. When the project is completed, drivers will find more Michigan left-hand turnarounds, 3 lanes at high-volume sections, and additional traffic signals. Just what we need. MDOT is planning on M24 to resemble Woodward Avenue, the boulevard going down through Birmingham.
And once again, security video has helped out Oakland County when it comes to identifying a thief. A local retail store caught a repeat offender trying to steal cosmetic items from the store. So store security identified the woman as a repeat offender, and she was stopped outside the store with the items and ticketed for retail fraud. Will they ever learn?
I don't know. Didn't we just talk about this last week? That security camera is helping out officers all over the place. So maybe eventually it'll wane down. I don't know why people think they can take other people's stuff.
Well, they say the jails are overcrowded. Why?
Yeah, right. Stop taking things out there. You that do. The others, I know you don't.
We had a pretty bad accident.
Yeah,
The corner
we
of
did.
24 and Drainer.
Yeah, that's a shame. My heart goes out to the family who lost and the woman that was involved in the accident. But I did want to mention, I saw on Facebook, pictures were posted immediately of the accident because we're all concerned. That's, the main reason, not because we're all gawkers. But one of the firefighters did respond and asked that those pictures be taken down out of respect for the family, and that makes sense. And then we just showed it right here. But that's because people want to know what happened. It's just not okay to be a gawker, I guess.
Right. Well, the thing is, that could also pose another threat, to both the people
Right.
trying to work on the people that are hurt,
Yeah.
ambulance people,
Right.
firemen, and so forth.
That's right.
Yeah, best thing to do is just keep on traveling,
Right,
folks.
right. I do want to mention our Jason Sirach happened to be there when it happened, and he said a lot of people jumped out of their cars to help. So, the good hearts of Oxford, I'm really proud of them. So, so what are your plans for Thanksgiving?
Oh, I think my plans are to
For your
open the
turkey.
pen, let the turkeys out, and say,
I knew you
run!
were going to say that. I knew it.
Run, turkeys!
Yeah, it sure makes me want to be a vegetarian when I see all those pictures of turkeys on
Yeah.
Facebook these days. But
Unless you're the president's turkey. What? Run!
run, double run. Anyhow, that's it for Oxford News this week. You have a safe Thanksgiving. If you want to learn more about these stories and others, stop by your local store and pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper, or catch us right here at OCTV Charter Channel 191, AT&T Channel 99, and Leonard residents, you can pick us up right here on Channel 19.
Coming up next on OCTV, Oxford Sports with Jamie Hughes, and join John Ochins with School News. And don't forget Dave Kenny in Auto Talk and Science in the News.
I'm Terry Stiles, and this is Oxford News This Week, where we bring your news closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, they sure look like ice volcanoes. An avalanche of data and new interpretations just released from NASA's New Horizons probe, which flew past Pluto on July 14th, are showing the dwarf planet as a texture geology shaped by alien weather. The informally named Picard Mons towers 5.5 kilometers in elevation and has the same shape as volcanoes we see here on Earth, but with ice slurries standing in for lava. The relatively puny Wright Mons stands 3.2 kilometers high and looks the same way. Volcanoes are common on the solar system's rocky inner planets, but they weren't expected so far out. Pluto also hosts systems of branching grooves which are thought to be carved by nitrogen ice glaciers as they slide over the ground on a slippery half-melted base. Similar features form under thick, slow-moving ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctica. Alternatively, these features could be carved by nitrogen snow flowing down mountain slopes. In perhaps the most dramatic revision of our pre-New Horizons vision of Pluto, the spacecraft revealed that all this diverse geology is happening under a blanket of an atmosphere that is more compact than we thought. Previous Earth-based observations led us to believe that Pluto was losing a large and puffy atmosphere into space, possibly because of ultraviolet radiation from the sun was launching atoms from the upper atmosphere outward. But observations taken as New Horizons looked back at the sun through Pluto's atmosphere shows that the atmosphere is packed more densely. The resulting compact atmosphere means that much less nitrogen ice has evaporated from the surface of Pluto than we thought, leaving more ice to flow on the ground and perhaps more weather to move it around. Wow. And still in space, the Martian weather report is in. Information beamed back by NASA's MAVEN spacecraft, which has been studying Mars' atmosphere from orbit since September 2014, offers a new view of Mars' history and could help pave the way for crewed missions to the Red Planet. One of Mars' long-standing mysteries is what happened to its water. Geology, or geological evidence, found by NASA's Curiosity rover suggests the planet was once moist enough to host lakes and rivers, but barring a few salty streaks, we don't see much sign of that today. In the end, MAVEN is studying how water and other molecules could have escaped through the planet's atmosphere and out into space. In March this year, it watched as the sun burped out a coronal mass ejection, or CME, a mix of gas particles and magnetic field lines. When this mass slammed into Mars, it generated a strong electric field in the upper atmosphere, giving a large number of oxygen and carbon dioxide ions sufficient energy to escape into space. This small-scale stripping of Martian atmosphere could be a thin echo of the past. It's thought that the sun was once more active and with a greater frequency and intensity of CMEs. This would have stripped even more gas out of the atmosphere, leaving Mars, that is, barren. MAVEN also performed a number of deep dips into the atmosphere, lowering the bottom of its orbit from 150 kilometers to 125 kilometers. A dip conducted in April revealed that the densities of oxygen and carbon vary across Mars due to mixing caused by atmospheric waves. A better understanding of these densities could help astronauts land on the surface of Mars through a maneuver called aerobraking and aerocapture, in which the incoming spacecraft uses a planet's atmosphere to safely slow down and land. In our last story, well, think twice before you tell that fib. By watching courtroom videos, a computer has learned to predict if someone is telling the truth or a lie. A machine learning algorithm trained on the faces of defendants in recordings of a real trial, including that of Andrea Snyderman, who was convicted of lying, correctly identified truth tellers about 75% of the time. Humans manage just 59.5%, and the best interrogators can reach 65%. We're actually pretty bad lie detectors, says Radha Mahalcia of the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. Mahalcia and her colleagues took 121 videos from sources such as the Innocence Project, a nonprofit group in Texas dedicated to exonerating people with wrongful convictions. This is superior to simulated conversation because the speakers are more invested in what they're saying. Transcriptions of the videos that included the speaker's gestures and expressions were fed into a machine learning algorithm along with the trial's outcome. To hone it further, the team plans to feed even more data. Such a system could one day spot liars in real time in court or at airport customs, says Mahalcia, who will present the work at the International Conference on Multimodal Interaction this month in Seattle, Washington. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.
I'm John Ochins, and welcome to the Oxford Wildcat School Update. The Oxford School Board had their first November meeting last Wednesday. The high school counseling office gave one of the presentations. They talked about the increased number of kids applying to colleges, among other things. One of the board members raised the question about increasing number of kids taking anti-anxiety medications. Counselor Jeremy LaValle weighed in with his thoughts.
My view on that is helicopter parents bubble wrap their kids and they never fail. They get a trophy whether they're the best team in the league or the worst team in the league. And so you have a generation of kids that have progressed through their life without having setbacks, without tripping over hurdles, and learning the skills that comes with that. That I can fail and it's all right. That I cannot be the best and I'm still going to be okay. And so they get to the point where mom and dad can no longer sugarcoat everything for them. They get a little bit of the real world and they're not prepared for it. They don't have the coping skills, they don't have the defense mechanisms they need to function with the highs and lows that come with everyday life. They've been bubble wrapped their whole life and they don't have the resiliency that they would need, the skills to deal with difficult and challenging situations. And so they get to the point where they start having panic attacks because they're feeling levels of stress they haven't encountered before, and they don't have anything in their toolbox to address those feelings.
Counselor Lindsay House heads up the high school ASAP program, an after-school program helping kids struggling with tough subjects. She had some thoughts on social media.
When we, with the exception of a small group right there in the middle, when we all went to high school, social media was not something we had. Cell phones and pictures and videos and posting, and it was nothing we dealt with. And so I think none of us, the adults in this room, have any idea what it is like to walk through a day full of social media. You make a mistake as a teenager, everybody sees it. And not only do they see it, but they comment on it, and then somebody comments on their comment, and then they all like it. So it becomes this thing that is like really hard for our kids to control, and it's a part of their lives, and I think it's very difficult. I'm not sure that it's healthy, but it is the world that we live in, so we have to kind of help them work their way through it.
That was Lindsay House. OES teacher Matt Robedek is taking on a new challenge. He is now the K-5 math instructional coach for the district. Matt tells us more.
Superintendent Throne created to kind of help get our teachers on board with the new math program, help them implement it, be effective with it, be efficient with it, so we can kind of really push our math scores up, our test scores up, and really help the kids that are struggling.
So will you be working mainly with teachers or with kids?
We're still working on that with Mr. Weaver, but I'd like to be in the classrooms as much as possible. I want to be still in the teacher role, but teacher role helping teachers and the teacher role still helping students. So I'd like to think about the job as like a little bit of a mix between helping teachers and still helping students as well.
Now, it seems like I heard something at a school board meeting. They're bringing in a new math program of some kind?
Yep, brand new math program. They ditched everyday math at the K through 5 elementary levels, and now we are going with a new math program, Math Expressions, which is brand new for all the teachers in the district, and it's a lot. There's a lot to it, but there's a lot of good stuff. So for us to figure out how to get to the good stuff, we need somebody to kind of sift through it and understand it and learn it, and then teach our teachers how to use it, and then that's going to be my job.
Okay, now here's the real question. Are you going to coach the parents so they can help their kids with
Actually, I think Mr. Weaver is looking into that, setting up a parent. So Mr. Weaver has a schedule for me. He's ready to implement it. He's chomping at the bit to get going, and I think I'm more excited than him.
The Detroit Institute of Arts came to Oxford Elementary last week. Olivia Marsh was with them, and we asked her about the program.
The DIA Way is a fairly new program. This is the second year. And the idea is to reach out to communities in Oakland, Wayne, and Macomb counties that might not be able to come to the museum because they're so far away. And we want to bring the idea of thinking like an artist to these communities, to give them a little taste of what the museum is and what it does, and then give students a chance to get to practice those skills here.
The DIA spent 3 days in our district. Also last week, our schools celebrated Veterans Day by inviting relatives of our kids to come in and talk about their service experience. At Oxford Elementary, they were given a flag-waving welcome, then went for breakfast, then to the classrooms where they answered questions from the kids about their service. Some interesting comments about a life the kids were not familiar with. That's the Oxford School Update for this week. Jamie Hughes is up next with sports. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
Back with you in Oxford News this week. Time for Oxford Sports. The Lady Cat Spikers had a full week of postseason play. Oxford played Waterford Mott in the district quarterfinals on November 2nd, where they had won all games. The first game was 25-6, which is due to a 16-point serving run by senior Haley Hartwig. Game 2 was a 16 win, and Game 3 was a 25-12 win. Top scorers of the night included Nicole Elzerman, 10 kills, Lisa Savage at 6, Grace Pasaki, 5, Paige Briggs, 7 kills. Hartwig had 13 digs, 6 aces. The win garnered them a semifinal play against Waterford Kettering. That took place on November 4th, where they again took 3 games, 25-13, 25-11, and 25-16 respectively. Top scorers included Elzerman at 14 kills, Savage at 10, Marie Mathis 8 kills, Hartwig had 10 digs, and Amanda Schlick topped in with 35 assists and 4 aces. That win would take them down the street to district finals. They would face their foes, the Dragons, Lake Orion, who was ranked number 2 in the state. Oxford started slow and lost the game by 1 score, 25-12. Oxford was able to pick up the momentum and was able to start strong, leading 6-1. Early in the game, however, due to some unforced errors, Lake Orion was able to make scoring runs to take the lead. Oxford played hard, putting up blocks, playing great defense. The game went for point. Oxford ended up losing that, though, 27-25. Oxford went into Game 3 playing hard and ultimately lost that one as well, 25-19. Guess what? Say it with me. Those Dragons, the Lake Orion Dragons, were crowned district champs. Jumping into the pool, Oxford High School hosted the OAA Blue Division League meet during a Wednesday meeting contest. The 25 Oxford swimmers each swam 2 individual events, won 2 relays. Of the 50 individual events swam on Wednesday, 36 season best times. That's amazing. Of the remaining 14 swims that were not improvements, many were very close. On Friday, Oxford swam and dove very well and finished 4th in place in that contest. The final team standings were as follows. Farmington, a strong team at 562. Troy Athens 387. Stony Creek 343. Oxford right there in the middle at 300. Ferndale down to 177. Avondale 136. Southfield Lathrop 86. And Hazel Park in at 68. A lot of personal bests in the pool. Till we do it all over again, have yourself a great week, everybody. We'll check in again with sports next week.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, the EPA has certified the diesel-powered versions of the Chevrolet Colorado and GMC Canyon at 31 miles per gallon, the highest rating of any truck, big or small, gasoline or diesel, sold in the U.S. GM is pressing on with its plan to add diesel engines to its lineup despite the Volkswagen diesel emission scandal, which has caused regulators all over the world to give diesel-powered vehicles extra scrutiny. GM says that the EPA issued not only the fuel economy ratings, but a certificate of conformity stating the agency has no issues or concerns about the emission systems in both trucks. The Colorado and Canyon are powered by a 2.8-liter turbocharged four-cylinder engine. They go on sale before the end of the year, and prices for diesel models adding about $3,700 over the V6 gasoline-powered trucks. The official EPA rating for the Colorado and Canyon are 22 miles per gallon city, 31 highway, and 25 overall. And at Ford Motor Company, Ford will begin testing its autonomous vehicles at M-City, a simulated facility at the University of Michigan to speed up research of advanced sensing technologies. Ford, which has been testing autonomous vehicles for more than 10 years, will be the first automaker to test them at the 32-acre facility that opened in July, it said in a statement. Ford will use M-City to expand testing of its Fusion Hybrid Autonomous Research Vehicle. The Fusion Hybrid Autonomous Research Vehicle combines driver assist technologies such as front-facing cameras, radar, and ultrasonic sensors with 4 LiDAR sensors to produce a real 3D map of the vehicle's surrounding environment. The goal of M-City is that we get scaling factor, said Ryan Eustace, associate professor at the University of Michigan. Every mile driven there can represent 10, 100, or 1,000 miles of on-road driving in terms of our ability to pack in the occurrences of difficult events. And at Cadillac, Cadillac's new XT5, that is, midsize crossover is lighter and roomier than the outgoing SRX, the first of 4 new crossovers planned in coming years to fortify Cadillac's patchy lineup. The replacement for the SRX midsize crossover, Cadillac's top-selling nameplate, the 2017 XT5 will be powered by a 3.6-liter V6 engine, the all-new motor introduced earlier this year in the ATS and CTS sedans. A new 8-speed transmission will come standard. The exterior design retains the SRX's basic silhouette, although the front end has been revised substantially with a wider, deeper grille, creased hood, and sleeker vertical headlamps. More dramatic changes were made inside with a less cluttered layout, more refined materials, and high-tech features such as a rear-view mirror that uses the camera system to enhance vision by 300%. Production is scheduled to begin this spring in China and at GM's assembly plant in Spring Hill, Tennessee. The crossover is officially debuts at the Dubai Auto Show this week with a U.S. reveal at the Los Angeles Auto Show last week. The XT5 rides on a wheelbase that's 2 inches longer than that of the SRX with a 1-inch wider track, creating more interior space and allowing designers to push the wheels further into the corners and reduce front and rear overhangs. Rear seat legroom grows by more than 3 inches while the rear seat reclines and slides forward and back. Cadillac said the XT5 will ride on a new lightweight chassis that helped it shed 278 pounds versus the SRX, and it's 100 pounds lighter but 7 inches longer than the Audi Q5 and more than 600 pounds lighter than the Mercedes-Benz's GLE, Cadillac said. The engine is rated at 310 horsepower and 270 pounds-feet of torque and will be coupled with a stop-start system to save fuel. The 8-speed gearbox will include Cadillac's first use of an electronically controlled transmission shifter, which Cadillac says will reduce noise and vibration. It will come with an available twin-clutch all-wheel drive system that's capable of transferring up to 100% of available torque to either the front or rear axle and to either rear wheel laterally for better stability and bad weather driving. The that is to say the all-wheel drive system, can be disengaged by the driver in good conditions to save fuel. The rear-wheel drive the rear camera system, which debuts on the CT6 sedan that will be launched earlier next year, offers more expansive rearward vision unobstructed by headrest, passengers, and the car's roof or rear pillars. A camera mounted on the car's rear end streams images to the rear view mirrors, providing a wide view of the lanes behind the car, including traditional blind spots. Quite a car. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.